Have you ever stopped to think about what really makes a civilization tick? I mean, is it just about borders or money or who's in charge? Or is it something deeper, some kind of unique spirit that shapes its entire story? Well, that's exactly the question we're digging into today.
One French philosopher, Louis Rougier, he had a pretty specific answer, at least when it comes to Western civilization. He argued that it's not the institutions or the economy that come first. Nope, it's a prevailing attitude, an idea that just sticks around for centuries. And for the West, he said that idea is rooted in a really powerful founding myth.
And that myth, it's Prometheus. You know the one, the titan who steals fire from the gods and gives it to humanity? For Rougier, this isn't just some old story. It's like the very DNA of the Western mindset, a spirit that has been the engine for its development all the way from ancient Greece to right now.
So this brings us to the core concept, what he called Prometheanism. It's this deep-down belief that we are not just passive playthings of fate or the gods. It's the conviction that, through our own smarts and our own effort, we can figure out the world, we can shape it for the better, and we can build a society that actually values our freedom. And Rougier says this spirit is really a mix of three classic characters.
So first up, at the very heart of it all, you've got Prometheus himself. He's the ultimate rebel, right? He represents that courage to stand up to any arbitrary authority, those forces that would much rather keep us in the dark. Next, you've got the spirit of Ulysses, the legendary adventurer. This is our inner drive to push past the known, to go beyond the edge of the map, fueled by this endless curiosity to explore, discover, and use our wits to figure things out.
And finally, there's Hercules, the tireless laborer. He is all about the ethic of effort, that sheer willpower to tame nature, to build cities, and to bring order out of chaos just through plain old hard work. It's this mix of rebellion, curiosity, and effort that really makes up the Promethean spirit. So, a big idea like this has to start somewhere. Where did this all begin? Well, according to Rougier, we have to go all the way back to one place: ancient Greece.
All right, so we're going to trace the journey of this Promethean idea through 4 key stages. We'll start with its birth in Greece, see how it was tested during the Christian era, then watch its massive comeback in the Renaissance, and finally, its big win in the modern age.
Okay, so what made the Greeks so different? I mean, it's a huge shift. You see, most other ancient civilizations kind of accepted the world as this unchangeable thing dictated by the gods. But the Greeks, they started asking a totally different kind of question. They looked for natural explanations for natural things. They introduced logos, reason.
And this wasn't just some minor tweak. It was a total revolution. I mean, think about what they came up with. They invented philosophy and science as we know them. They imagined politics not as some divine command, but as a human thing that we could actually debate and make better. They gave us written law, holding citizens accountable, and this wild idea of isonomia, equality for everyone before the law.
This quote just perfectly captures that change in thinking. The Pythagoreans and the thinkers who followed them, they've realized the universe wasn't just a bunch of chaotic myths. It was a cosmos, an ordered, understandable system that you could actually grasp using math. That is a world-changing insight right there.
Okay, let's jump to the next big phase. After Greece, this Promethean spirit runs smack into a powerful new force, Christianity. And its role? Well, it's complicated. It kind of pushed the brakes and hit the gas at the same time.
And you can really see this two-sided role here. On one hand, Christianity definitely put a damper on things. It brought a suspicion of earthly life, saw pride in human achievement, and had a general distrust of science and reason. But, and this is the really interesting part, on the other side, it was also laying the groundwork for what was to come. It gave us a linear view of history, a story with a beginning and an end, which is what makes the whole idea of progress even possible. It said every single person has infinite value. And by teaching that the world was created by a rational God, it kind of secretly encouraged people to study it.
So for centuries, you have this tension, this push and pull. But then, the Renaissance hits. And that Promethean spirit doesn't just wake up, it explodes back onto the scene with unbelievable energy.
So what was the big change here? Well, it was a move away from a God-centered universe, or theocentrism, towards humanism. People rediscovered Greek and Roman thought, and suddenly, living a good, happy life right here on Earth became a valid goal. It wasn't just a waiting room for the afterlife anymore. And science? It wasn't just for thinking about, it became a tool you could use to make life better, right here, right now.
And a huge piece of this puzzle was the invention of a brand new, powerful tool, the modern experimental method. This was a game changer. It wasn't about just sitting back and watching the world anymore. It was about actively questioning it, observing carefully, coming up with a hypothesis, using math to figure out the consequences, and then, crucially, testing it with controlled experiments. This basically gave humanity the keys to unlock nature's secrets.
The results were just mind-blowing. To really get how massive this was, you have to understand the world they were leaving behind. For centuries, people saw the cosmos through Aristotle's eyes, a closed, tidy, hierarchical world with Earth sitting still at the center and the perfect, unchanging heavens spinning around it.
And then, bam! Thinkers like Copernicus and Galileo just completely blew that old model apart. All of a sudden, humanity found itself in this vast, infinite universe. The Earth was just another planet, going around a sun that was just another star, all governed by the same mathematical laws. The center was gone. It was everywhere and nowhere.
This radical new way of seeing the universe really set the stage for the final act in Rougier's story, the absolute triumph of the Promethean spirit in the modern age, kicking off with the Enlightenment.
So when we talk about the rise of the West, it wasn't just one thing. It was this perfect storm of revolutions, all feeding off each other. The scientific revolution gave us the knowledge, political revolutions gave us the freedom to use it, and the Industrial Revolution turned all that knowledge and freedom into just incredible power.
And the result? Society was transformed, top to bottom. I mean, just look at these changes. Machine power took over from muscle power. Democratic societies with citizens pushed aside aristocratic ones with subjects, and meritocracy started to open doors for people based on talent, not just who their parents were. A whole new world was being built.
Okay, so after this whirlwind tour through history, what's the big takeaway? What's the lasting legacy of this Promethean spirit? Rougier really boils it down to 3 key pillars.
First, this unshakable confidence in reason and science as our best tools to understand and shape the world. Second, this absolute premium placed on individual freedom, protected not by some king's mood, but by the rule of law. And third, a deep-seated belief in progress, the idea that tomorrow can and should be better than today.
So according to Rougier, this whole Promethean mindset is the unique genius of the West. It's the story of a humanity that, just like its hero, decided to grab its own destiny. Which leaves us with a pretty big question to chew on. If this is the story that has defined the West for centuries, what chapter is it writing for itself today?